Welcome to the Berkeley Study Abroad Online General Orientation. This module will cover billing and payments for semester and year EAP students who receive financial aid.
Does billing for UCEAP go through the Berkeley CARS system like I'm used to?
No. With the exception of ship insurance, no fees for EAP will be billed through your Berkeley CARS account. Instead, all fees for UCEAP are billed through your MyEAP account. We'll talk more about how payments work later in this orientation module.
Okay then, what's my first step for financial planning for my EAP program?
Your first step for financial planning is to locate and review your detailed EAP program budget. You can find your program budget posted on the Money Matters tab of your UCEAP pre-departure checklist. This is a sample EAP budget. Section 1 of the program budget includes all fees that need to be paid to UCEAP through your MyEAP account. These replace the fees you typically pay through CARS for your Berkeley tuition. When evaluating your Section 1 expenses, remember to calculate in the Berkeley campus fee as well as non-resident tuition if it applies to you. Section 2 includes all estimated expenses that you will pay out of pocket. This includes an estimate for airfare, pre-departure expenses, incidentals, transportation and books, and for the majority of EAP programs, your housing and meal expenses.
Got it. Section 1 has fees due to UCEAP. Where do I pay the fees listed in Section 2?
If you see an expense listed in Section 2, that means you will not pay the amount to UCEAP. Rather, you will pay it directly to whoever is providing the service to you. For example, the airline for your plane ticket.
Does the student budget cover all of my financial needs for my program?
The EAP student budget is a comprehensive budget for your study abroad expenses, but does not include funds for recreational travel and entertainment. We recommend that you secure additional funds for extracurricular opportunities abroad.
I receive financial aid at Berkeley. How does the financial aid process work for my EAP program?
Berkeley Study Abroad informs the Financial Aid Office that you are an EAP participant and submits your EAP program budget. The Financial Aid Office enters the EAP program budget into the Berkeley MyFinaid system, including Sections 1 and 2 of the budget, which are UCEAP fees and estimated personal expenses. Finally, the MyFinaid system packages you for your semester or year EAP program based on the costs indicated in your EAP program budget. For fall and year programs, you will be able to view your awards in MyFinaid in May or June. You will be notified via email when your financial aid awards are available for review, and you will need to take action to accept any loans you are offered.
My financial aid awards usually pay out through CARS. Is it the same for EAP?
None of your financial aid awards will pay out through CARS for the terms you are on EAP. Similar to the billing for the program, all financial aid is reported and dispersed through the MyEAP system. This includes all scholarships, grants, loans, stipends, and fee waivers that normally pay out through the CARS system.
Okay, so even though my awards are listed in the Berkeley MyFinaid system, they don't pay out through CARS. When do the awards show up in my EAP then?
The Berkeley Financial Aid Office must comply with federal guidelines for release of financial aid, which currently prohibits aid from being released more than 10 days prior to the start date of your program. Once funds can be released, the Berkeley Financial Aid Office sends a report with your awards to the system-wide office of UCEAP. The UCEAP financial analyst for your EAP program enters all awards on the report into your MyEAP account.
Will I have to make an actual payment to UCEAP through MyEAP?
That depends on the total amount of financial aid that you accept for the program. First of all financial aid students expecting $950 or more in financial aid awards do not have to make the first payment of $950 to UCEAP. You do not need to notify UCEAP that you will be receiving financial aid and therefore not submitting a payment. You You will see a $50 late fee appear in your My EAP account, but don't worry, it will be reversed after your financial aid is reported to UCEAP by the Berkeley Financial Aid Office.
Okay, I'll skip the first payment, but what about the final payment?
After your financial aid awards are entered into My EAP, UCEAP will attempt to deduct all fees listed in Section 1 of the program budget from your total financial aid award. If the total financial aid listed in your My EAP account is greater than the total UCEAP fees due for your program, you will never make a payment to UCEAP and will receive a disbursement for any excess financial aid funds. If you receive a late fee for missing the final payment, it will be reversed once your financial aid is reported to UCEAP by the Berkeley Financial Aid Office. If the total amount of financial aid funds listed in your My EAP account is less than the total UCEAP fees due for your program, you will owe the balance indicated on your My EAP account. Because your financial aid can't be released by Berkeley until 10 days prior to the program start date, the exact figure will not be available in your My EAP account at the time your final payment is due. To avoid a late charge, make a payment for the balance you anticipate owing by the final payment deadline.
My financial aid is enough to cover the UCEAP fees, so I'm expecting a disbursement. I have an electronic funds transfer set up for my Berkeley financial aid, so will the money go to my bank account like usual?
No, because your financial aid is not paying out through cars, the EFT you have for Berkeley will not work for your term on EAP. So if you are expecting a disbursement and would like it to be deposited directly into your bank account, it's critical that you sign up for e-refund in your My EAP account. If you don't sign up for e-refund, your financial aid funds will be dispersed in the form of a paper check and mailed to the U.S. financial address you listed in My EAP. We encourage all students to sign up for e-refund as soon as possible to ensure the timeliest disbursement of financial aid funds.
When exactly will I get the disbursement?
Because Berkeley will not release your financial aid awards until 10 days prior to the start of the program, it's possible that you will not receive your disbursement until very shortly before departure. If there are unexpected delays in Berkeley releasing your awards, it's possible that your disbursement will be issued after you depart for your program. This might happen if you have an incomplete financial aid file or other campus registration block. It's important to think about how you would handle this situation if it were to happen to you. For example, storing away some money prior to departure is a good way to protect yourself until your financial aid disbursement is available. As much as possible, develop a financial safety net for yourself.
As a financial aid student, what other problems could I run into while on EAP?
I can think of 3 frequent problems that financial aid students run into. First, it's possible for changes to occur to financial aid packaging after your financial aid awards have been reported to UCEAP. The most common scenarios are scholarship funds reported to MyFinaid after you've been packaged for your EAP term, and changes you make to your graduation date or enrollment status within MyFinaid. Changes to your financial aid packaging can result in another disbursement being issued to you from UCEAP, or, if financial aid awards are reduced, a balance due to UCEAP. Second, you should be aware that all loans that are accepted in the MyFinaid system are automatically split evenly between the fall and spring semesters. So that means if you study abroad in the fall but accept a loan where you are back on campus in the spring half of the loan will pay out via cars like you are used to. But the fall half of the loan still has to pay out through the My EAP system even though you are back on campus. Third, sometimes students participate on EAP as their last term at UC. If this is your plan, be advised that you cannot be on the degree list for a term prior to your EAP participation. For example, if fall is your last term, you must ensure that you are not on the prior spring or summer degree list.
I'm thinking about keeping ship insurance for my term abroad. Will Will I get funds for SHIP through MyFinaid?
As explained in the Health Insurance Orientation module, you will be automatically waived from SHIP for your term abroad. If you decide to keep SHIP by completing a waiver reversal request, the cost of SHIP will be added to your MyFinaid budget. However, it can take 2 to 3 months for this adjustment in aid to occur. You must make an actual payment for SHIP on cars no later than the 3rd week of school to avoid a registration block and late fee. Therefore, if you keep SHIP, you must have access to approximately $900 to pay your initial SHIP bill while waiting for your financial aid to be adjusted upward and dispersed to you via My EAP. For this reason, the Financial Aid Office recommends remaining waived from SHIP while on EAP, unless your specific circumstances necessitate keeping SHIP.
I'm getting nervous about paying for pre-departure expenses since I don't get my financial aid disbursement until very close to departure for the program. Do you have any advice?
Financial aid students must plan carefully to cover pre-departure expenses, such as purchasing plane tickets, before receiving their financial aid disbursement. If you have not accepted all of your loans from the current Berkeley term, prior EAP students recommend accepting unused loan funds to provide some cash flow to cover pre-departure expenses. This can only be done if you have remaining loan eligibility for the current term and do not anticipate needing those funds for your living expenses on campus this semester. STA Travel offers students receiving financial aid the opportunity to book an airplane ticket with a $300 deposit, then pay the balance of the ticket 7 days prior to departure for the program.
This all feels a little overwhelming. Who can help?
Great news! Berkeley Study Abroad now offers financial aid advising for EAP right here in our Stevens Hall office. Check the Berkeley Study Abroad website for current hours. Make sure to bring your Cal ID card when you visit.